francs just to take a whiz, but they are the cleanest toilets I've seen in Paris.
No.
No. One last visit to the City of Lights. For many years now, I have known that one can go to the top of the Arc de Triomphe for a different kind of view. A couple of quick shots around its base while flying the national flag, and then... Well, I was going to climb the Arc de Triomphe. Unfortunately, it's closed today because of a civil strike. Hey, it's not my fault. But unfortunately, it is my last night in Paris. So, it's gonna have to wait till next time. Yet another reason, yet another excuse to come back. Ha 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 ha. My guidebook recommended a particular restaurant on a particular street that serves the best French onion soup anywhere. And thus, I decided to soak my sorrows in the aforementioned consommé. Upon applying for a seat, the waiter informed me in no uncertain terms, "We are closed." No, not again. I begged, I pleaded, and I explained to the maitre d' that I had walked miles to come here, that my guidebook said, don't leave Paris without sampling this soup, that perhaps one day I might be a famous television personality. At all this, he had a very good chuckle, I would wager at my expense, and then showed me to my table. Right turn out the hotel lobby, and this is what I had to face every morning. Oh, the temptation. After contemplating paying the excessive price for the Eurostar, and then finding out it would be much cheaper with a 14-day advance purchase, I decided to save that experience and my money for next time, and take the traditional, much cheaper, much slower train trip to Calais, ferry to Dover, and train to London. Arriving at the train station in Calais, I found it was a considerable distance to the ferry terminal, and I had just missed the bus. So, a fellow backpacker and I pooled our resources and shared a taxi. I remember my first trip to Europe in 1988. After spending more than a month on the continent, the sight of the white cliffs of Dover brought a sense of joy and relief. I suddenly realized that when I spoke to people, they would understand me, that I wouldn't be greeted by indifferent or puzzled looks, and that I would be able to find my way out of a train station at one glance, instead of considering what that sign might refer to. Then again, had I spent a few dollars or pounds on a phrase book, I might have enjoyed myself quite a bit more. There's a tip for you. Buy a phrase book. My journey back to England did take the whole day. I arrived in London around dinner time, and just in time to find the best man about to leave for Devon and the wedding of our mutual friend. We picked up our rental car in Reading, just west of London, and by the way, the city of my birth, and headed through the rolling hills towards our friend's appointment with destiny. Perfect end to a great trip, mistakes and all. Yeah, so he grew up in Sydney, but he hasn't seen much of Australia. Our permanent tourist takes this opportunity to investigate the beginnings of the outback on a trip from Brisbane to Sydney. Normally one takes the Pacific Highway in a near straight line, but not our man. Taking the scenic route, mate. Ever been on a minibus where the driver thinks he's Mario Andretti? Paul has. Ever witnessed the scenery on both sides of the equator in a single glance? Paul has. Ever woke up at 6 a.m. on your vacation to catch a train that hasn't been running in months? Paul has. Imagine growing up in the United States and only having seen 3 states by the time you're 45 years and 360 days old. Well, we fixed that before number 45 rolled around. In fact, Frank celebrated his 45th birthday with a hike through Bryce Canyon, Utah. Lima, Peru. It's a big city, and it's the port of entry for gringos and the starting point for our Machu Picchu to visit Cuzco, the ancient Inca capital, Machu Picchu, and destinations beyond. Somebody tell me why I ended up using my high school Spanish to translate for a bunch of Israeli kids trying to book a jeep trip through the desert in San Pedro de Atacama in northern Chile. Hammock, $10. Cargo barge ticket for 2 nights and food, $20. Waking up in my hammock watching the Amazon go by, priceless.